Hi guys, and welcome to episode 16 of Auntie Danny Knits. I'm Danny, your host. You can find me on Ravelry and Instagram, and I'll have all the information about how to find me at the end of the episode. So hi, it's been 2 weeks since my last super short episode. That one was only like 5 minutes long. So today's going to be a little bit longer, because I can finally talk about the thing that I wasn't talking about yet. And yeah, I'm totally just going to start the show with this because I don't want to be hiding my hand and everything's related. So I'm super excited. Jim and I got engaged. I haven't stopped smiling in like 3 weeks. I'm so excited. So that was the big news that I couldn't share because we weren't putting anything up on any sort of social media or anything until we'd had a chance to talk to as many family and friends as we could in person. It's one of the things about not living where my family lives. It's not like I just see my aunts and uncles around the corner. I have to make an effort to, a bigger effort to share information with them. So, yeah. I can't stop. So anyway, that's going to color everything for the next while. Well, things are being a little bit crazy. But that was my fake news, so you guys know. And with that out of the way, let's start talking about some knitting. Out of the way. Yeah, no, it's going to come up again. I promise, and it'll be fun. But let's get on with the knitting. So first up are my finished objects. And I've got piles of stuff here. My parents are in town visiting, so my craft room, where I normally record, is also storing everything that normally lives in the spare room where they're sleeping. So it's a little bit crowded in here. I've got everything piled on my chair, so it's going to be a little bit awkward. Hopefully I don't knock anything over. But I finished my World's End socks. These are the 4th sock in the Socks of Narnia collection by Paper Daisy Knits. That's Lisa K. Ross. I love these. They're super cushy because they are colorwork, so the inside is 2 layers, and that's actually why I left this one off the sock blocker, because I'm going to turn it inside out. Because, oh my goodness, when you actually like pay attention to what you're doing, the inside of colorwork socks is really pretty too. So yeah, that's what the inside of my colorwork sock looks like. Again, this is the outside. I love these things. But yeah, because they're colorwork, it's double layer, so it's going to be super squishy and soft. The yarn I used is actually my own colorway. Well, I call it a colorway. It's not a colorway. I'm never going to reproduce this. A couple years ago, yeah, it is a couple years now, when I started doing some dyeing on my own, the colored one is the first yarn that I dyed. So it's got the magenta and the blue and the yellow, and then in between the pink and the green and the orange. So it's it was an experimental skein, but I really love how it knit up in this. And then the white is just the same fingering weight but undyed, because I had some of that kicking around too. So these are awesome. I am super pleased. So this was World's End, Dragon Island, Rough Waters, and Voyage. So those are all the socks in Lisa's collection. And you guys, I had so much fun knitting these. So much fun. I highly, highly recommend her patterns to anyone else who wants to give them a try. They were easy to follow. The only one I got hung up on was one that I was trying to do, the Dragon Island. Somehow I got it in my head that it would be great, no problem, to do 2 at a time socks with anatomical toes, which means that the right sock and the left sock aren't exactly the same. But I thought, oh no, I can do that. No, I can't do that. I tried. My brain is good, but it is not good enough to follow essentially 2 separate patterns on the same set of needles at the same time. So that was all my fault. But yeah, the patterns were easy to follow. I loved the heels. They were all different heels. All 4 of them had slightly different heels. So I've actually sort of expanded what I'm going to be working on in the future with socks, because those are ones that I hadn't tried before and I like them. So yeah, if you get a chance, the knit along in her group is running until the end of November. So go out, pick up a pattern, and knit up some socks. Enter that in her Ravelry group. They're beautiful. And if nothing else, go check out that Ravelry group and see all the different color combinations. I love the pinks and purples and whites and the multicolor that I chose. But there have been some beautiful color combinations, ones that I wouldn't have thought to choose, that look really great. So yeah, I definitely recommend going and checking that out. Speaking of socks and finished objects, I also finished my Ray socks. I think I showed you Jim's a few weeks back, and these are mine. They're exactly the same as his, but smaller. So this yarn is from Mustache Yarns. This is her Ray colorway. It's the perfect pair self-striping, and I really like them. And now that they're done, I'm going to put them away and probably wear them again later, or soon rather. And I also finished another pair of socks. It's a sock show, man. These ones are also part of my Star Wars Sock Saga collection. These are the Mustache Yarn and Fiber Perfect Self-Striping Sock in the color Obi-Wan. And I heard, by watching her podcast, that these Star Wars based colorways are coming out again. She's going to be re-releasing them, possibly with some new ones. So I was going to try and go on a yarn diet after going to Into the Wool and SAF, but I may have to make an exception to get the rest of whatever comes out for Star Wars socks, because I have all the colors so far. It's a lot of socks, but I'm loving these, and I love the colors in these Obi-Wans. It's got the brown that transitions into a pink, and then that teal. I love that pop of bright blue. I guess it's not a teal really, but oh, I love it. So these are Jim's. They are bigger than mine. You can see holding them up. My Ray socks versus his everything flying around. There we go. Yeah, his are definitely bigger than mine. But now that I've got his done, I will use the leftovers to make my socks. So I'm excited about that. I have not cast them on yet though. Another sock finish that I have, I've been participating in Boston Jen's WIP 2017 in the Butt Knit Along, and the idea there is to finish up languishing old WIPs. Well, this WIP set has been on my needles since September of 2014. It's been a little while. This is the Haiku Sock Puppets by Kathy Gomez. I started knitting these when I went to my very first knit group at my local yarn shop before the current one. The old one had closed a year ago, 2 years ago. But I joined my first knit night there, and the very first project was baby socks, because it was a bunch of people who were knitting for children and grandchildren and nieces and nephews. And since I knit a whole bunch for my nieces, I figured that would be perfect. So I did the first 2 socks. I did a pig and a bumblebee, and then the rest just sort of sat there and sat there and sat there and sat there. And this past month, October, for the WIP 2017 in the Butt Challenge, I decided I'm going to finish these things. So here's a dinosaur. Rawr. A very friendly one. The embroidery on the faces, I'm not a big fan of, but honestly, I don't know that I did any worse than the pattern showed. It's very hard to come up with a friendly dinosaur face for kids' socks. But there's my dinosaur, and I have a second dinosaur in purple and green, also rawr friendly. There's his spikes. I have a pair of birds. There's a blue bird with a little red floof on his head, cute little mouth. And I have a red bird with a little blue floof on his head. You can see they're socks. I also have, dropping everything, a flower whose petals are turning in like crazy, but there's his happy flower face, and a bunny. So the idea with these is that they're designed to be worn on the sock, on the foot of a little baby. The idea is that it's for kids who are not walking yet, and they put them on their feet and they kick their feet up and go, ooh, things on my toes. I don't know. I don't know that I would knit these again. They were cute, but I don't know if I would knit them again. I don't, the sock, my hand for reference, it's a fairly big foot. I don't know any babies with feet this size who aren't already walking. So I don't know. But I do have some coworkers who are expecting, so I think that these little dudes will get split up into a few different little groupings and given away as part of baby presents for them. Because why not, right? And speaking of baby things, another thing to show you, I mentioned this 2 episodes ago. When it was a test knit, I couldn't show you what it was, but I can show you now. It's a hat. This is the, I think it's called, pronounced Lalabella hat. This is from the latest Point Counterpoint collection, and I'm super excited. This one is Kino Knits pattern, and it's got these lovely cables and a garter panel and a little stockinette panel, and I test knit this for her. I did the teeny tiny baby size, and that's why it's on this little styrofoam head. This is about a baby head size styrofoam ball. I discovered that was the perfect size when I was doing all of my baby hats for Into the Wool. And isn't this just adorable? Because I can show it to you now, because the collection has come out, and that's super exciting too. I actually have a copy of the collection for review, and I'm going to be reviewing it not today, but next episode with my parents here and the engagement and everything else. My life's been a little bit crazy, so I haven't actually had time to sit down and read through the whole thing, but I will tell you, if you follow her on social media, or if you even go look at the pattern page, you might see a familiar face in some of those pictures. Because when I was at Into the Wool, I was helping her out doing some modeling of the set, including this hat, and I loved how it fit. It was just, it felt good, and the fingerless mitts that went along with it also felt really nice. And I didn't get to try on the other hat and the shawl that are in the collection, but I got to look at them, and they're gorgeous in person. I mean, they look great in the photos too, but in person I was just like, I want to knit all 4 of these. So next episode I'm going to have an actual review of the whole collection, but for now, this is the Lalabella hat, and it's adorable, and it was so fast. I mean, okay, this was the baby size, but I knit this up in one evening. One evening, that's all. And I mean, that was cables and everything. And look at the detail. Let's see if I can have it not blow out too much. The detail on the top of that hat, how beautifully it all comes together. She just has such great attention to detail. It makes for such a beautiful end product. So there's that hat, and look forward to the review in about 2 weeks when I do my next episode. Alright, let's talk about my works in progress. I actually only have 2 things that I'm working on that didn't end up in the FO pile. I have not yet cast on my Obi-Wan socks, but those will be coming. But I've been working on 2 things. The first one is all tangled up in my bag. It is my Harvest cardigan. So you've seen this before. last time I was at this marker here from Simply Serving, little glittery narwhal, and I got that much done in the last month. This one I am mostly working on while I'm at my knit nights. We do that on Fridays in my area here, and so I've split for the sleeves, and I've finished the increases because it does have some increases across the front to make the two front panels come together nicely. So I'm now just to straight knitting, and I've got that much from the underarm done, and we measured this Friday at knit night, and I only have about 4 more inches to go before I hit the bottom band, which is awesome. That's going so fast. So, and I'm getting about an inch and a half every knit night. So there's a good chance that I'll be done this by the new year. So I'm excited about that. And I just realized that I dropped a stitch because I'm awesome like that. That's what happens when you put it in your bag and then try to pull it out to podcast. There we go. Stitch is back on. So that is the first thing that I've been working on. Like I said, you've seen this before and you'll see it again. I'm only on my 3rd skein of yarn, which is awesome. I figure I'll finish up the one and probably do one more for the body, and then I've still got 2 left, 1 for each arm. Although I'm alternating skeins because this is in Malabriga Rios in the color Teal Feather, and I don't want the 2 arms to be significantly different from each other, so I'll probably alternate skeins. I haven't decided how I'm going to do it yet, but that's what I'm working on. And the second thing that I'm working on, I'm a little bit crazy. I'm totally crazy pants. I am knitting my wedding dress. Is that nuts? I think that might be nuts, but I'm so excited about it. So I don't have a whole lot done yet. I cast it on October 27th, while I was at SAF, actually, that Friday night, and that's all I've got so far. It's not much, but this dress is knit from the bottom up. Did I say that right? Yeah, from the bottom up. So it is a lot of stitches that were cast on initially. I think it was 540, 550, something like that. It was a lot of stitches. So I've got it on a giant, what's the word? Cord. Giant cord. And the yarn's all tangled up from being in the bag. I'll get that all sorted out before I start knitting on it again. But what I've done is actually, especially while I was at SAF, and we'll talk more about that later, but I was staying with a bunch of friends, and I ran into a bunch of friends and vendor friends, and I've been collecting love in my dress and getting my knitting friends to put in a few stitches on my wedding dress. So we're planning to have a very small wedding. Right now we're looking about 20-ish guests, and by getting my friends to knit on my dress, I'm going to have my friends with me on my special day, even if they're not going to be there in person. So if you are in a position to be possibly near me sometime before February, March-ish, and you want to put in a few stitches, let me know. Is it crazy? I think it's kind of crazy, but I'm so excited. It's not going to be a full-length dress. It's going to be a T-length. I'm actually using a pattern for it that I found on Ravelry, and I found it a while ago, and I thought, that's just a pretty dress. And I don't know. It seems very me to knit my dress. let me get the full screen picture here to show you. That is the dress I'm looking at. It is called the Maddie dress. It's available on Ravelry. It's a paid pattern, and that is a crinoline that's underneath the skirt, and I'm going to do that too, probably in a shade of blue. And yeah, that's what I'm doing these days. That's probably going to make it to a lot of podcasts in the next few months as I'm knitting my wedding dress. I can't believe that we're getting married. I'm still giddy about it. We've been together almost 5 years, and we're ready, and I'm super excited about it. And I can't stop smiling, and I can't stop doing crazy things like making my wedding dress. But it'll be fine. It'll be fine. I'm super excited. Alright, so shopping. I did some shopping at SAF. Absolutely did some shopping at SAF because it's a fiber festival. How do you go to a fiber festival without buying something and some fiber? Which I did get. But I'm still trying to catch up on things that I bought from Into the Wool to show you. And I feel kind of wool piggish having so much from these last 2 events to show you. But then I think about it, and honestly, I don't buy a lot of yarn during the year. I saved up from pretty much from September of last year so that I could have money for shopping at Into the Wool and at SAF, because I knew I was going to both of those. Well, SAF didn't come till a little bit later, but still, I had quite a while to put away money and save. So I don't want to give the impression that I'm just spending money here and there and buying tons of yarn. This was planned. It was a planned splurge because I've been trying to be good through the rest of the year. And I think with the exception of the mustache Star Wars socks, I'm probably going to be pretty conservative in my buying until the next set of festivals rolls around. I like buying pretty things, but I like buying pretty things that I can look at and touch in person. So for me, it really does work out better to either go to my local yarn shop or to wait till I go to one of these festivals and I can actually see things and hold them up and, you know, play with them. So let me show you some of the things that I held up and looked at and played with at Into the Wool. I got from Teeny Button Studio some of her shimmer sock in the color Unicorns in My Coffee. Isn't that a great name? So it's sparkly. It is fingering weight 75% superwash merino, 20% nylon, 5% stellina, 438 yards per 100 grams. And I got this because these colors just remind me so much of my nieces. Yeah, Bear loves the pink, and Bug loves the blue, and I mean, I love the pink and blue and purple combo. I think it's just gorgeous. But I feel like this might be great spring mittens for the girls. And I say spring mittens because they live somewhere where it's cold, and fingering weight mittens are just not going to cut it in the middle of winter. They're just not. But they'll be great for spring where you don't necessarily want the huge bulky mittens, but you still need something to cover your fingers. But then again, it's gorgeous, and it may end up as socks or a hat for me because I like it. Next up is some more sparkle, because sparkle. This one is from V Yarns. It's her spectacle base. I think that's gonna focus. No, it doesn't really want to. But it's her spectacle base. It's 420 yards, 100 grams, 75 superwash merino, 20 nylon, and 5% sparkle. And this is in the color Pixie Dust, and I love it. It is a mostly silver gray with silver sparkles, but they're just occasionally little bloops of color. And I love this. I really like it. I was torn between this and another skein in a colorway called Insomnia. which I really liked. And I really liked the two of them together. But the Insomnia she had was in, I can't remember if it was a worsted or a bulky, and the Pixie Dust was in the fingering. So those two don't really, I suppose I could have held the fingering double, now that I'm thinking about it here at home, like a month later, when I can't do anything about it. Oops. But she has an online shop, so I'm probably actually going to get the Insomnia to go with the Pixie Dust and make up some sort of lovely two-color shawl or cowl thing. But I love the sparkle in this. It's not, I think it's because it's such a pale silver gray color to start with, that it's not like pow sparkle, but more of a sparkle. Really? I can't believe I just used those types of sparkle descriptions. But you know what I mean. It's not like a super in your face, oh my goodness, look at all my glitter sparkle. It's more of a subtle, hey, I'm a sparkle. Whatever. Anyway. I also, before we actually got to Into the Wool, we made a detour to the yarn patch because we got into town early. And so I got some of this Wonderland yarns. It's the Cheshire Cat yarn, which is 128 yards per 1 ounce skein for a total of 460 yards. It's 100% superwash merino. And I don't know if the colorway is Down the Rabbit Hole or Shillings and Pence number 16. Oh goodness. There we go. Down the Rabbit Hole or Shillings and Pence number 16. But look at this gradient set of colors. So it goes from a dark teal to a light minty, and I love it. And so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, 5 different colors of fingering weight, and I love this, the way they put it together. But I know there are lots of gorgeous gradient things that I can knit now that I have a gorgeous gradient, and it's a big one too. Like I said, it's 640 yards, so that's going to be a very healthy size shawl, which I'm super excited about. So yeah, this is totally going to end up being a shawl for me, and I'm thrilled. I like it. So there's what I've bought. All right, time to chit chat. So, yeah, the big news since the last full-size podcast is, again, that I got engaged. I'm so excited about this. I seriously just can't stop grinning. I feel like a kid. It's just the joy is amazing. I'm super happy. So I'm going to try to tone it down a little bit and not overwhelm the whole podcast with, I'm getting married, but that's just what I want to do. I want to run screaming it from the rooftops. But in addition to getting engaged, I've done some other stuff. I went to SAF. That was actually just last weekend. That's the Southeastern Animal Fiber Festival, and that was fun. I went up to North Carolina on Thursday. I left around noon and got there probably around, I don't know, dinner was being made when I got there. So I hung out Thursday evening, chatted with all my knitting friends, pulled out some knitting and satin, hung out for a while. Friday, I headed to the fairgrounds and did a walk around of the whole market before deciding on anything. I was very proud of myself for that. But I did make a point of going and looking at all the vendors and seeing what was there. I did not take any classes. Some of the friends that I was staying with took classes, and they all seemed to get a lot out of them. Everyone was really pleased with what they learned. I just wasn't in a class-taking kind of place this year, so I didn't. But that was fine. I had a lot of fun visiting the market on Friday. Got a few things. And then on Saturday, I actually headed out with Mandy and Wendy, and we met up with our friend Beth in Black Mountain. And we went to the Black Mountain yarn shop. Yarn shop? Fiber shop. The yarn store in Black Mountain. And spent some time there. They had a couple of trunk sales going on, so we were looking at all the stuff there. It got kind of crowded, but that was okay. That's great for the shop, so yay. Then we went and had lunch at a place called The Veranda, and that was really tasty. I would definitely go back there again. And then we headed across the street to a place called Kilwins. I'd never heard of them before. Oh my goodness, I am so glad that my friends knew what they were doing. It's an ice cream shop, an ice cream and chocolate shop, and it was so yummy. Oh, I had the cookies and cream ice cream in a cone, and it was just delicious. Oh, it was so good. My mouth is watering just thinking about it. I like ice cream, and I don't know, I don't have it a whole lot. Well, probably because it's starting to get cold-ish, and, you know, ice cream in cold weather, maybe a little not such a great combo. But yeah, it was really good. And then we went to the shoe store. Yeah, I went shoe shopping on a knitting retreat. This store, man, this store is crazy. It goes on and on and on. It is a TARDIS. It was crazy. I didn't end up finding any shoes that I needed, which is okay. But there are a bunch of cute ones, and a lot of cute ones that I could wear. I have tiny, tiny child-sized feet, which you may have been able to tell by the size of the socks that I knit. But yeah, I've got tiny feet, so it's often hard for me to find shoes, but there were all the shoes were there. So I found some that fit nicely, but just they weren't the kind of shoes that I needed, so I didn't get them. Although, really, who doesn't want silver sparkle sneakers? Oh wait, I got some of those. Not from that shoe store, from another one. Which is probably why I didn't get them there, because how many pairs of silver sparkle sneakers does an almost 40-year-old really need? Anyway, so we had a lot of fun on Saturday doing all of that. Several of the ladies at the house where we were staying made dinner, which was really nice. Instant pot recipes out the wazoo, which was awesome. So I've got a few things to try here at the house. But yeah, everyone has an Instant Pot, and that's great because I'm totally going to be sharing recipes with my knitting friends now. And then Sunday, I went back to the market again to say some more hellos to my friends who are vending, or were vending. I made sure that I stopped to say hi at Whimsy Stitches, and at Rock and String Creations, and Twist Fiber Studio, and the Beat Sisters, because these guys are all my knitting friends, and I love supporting them any way that I can. So, yeah, they were all vending at SAF. That was fun, and got to help out a couple of them, relieving them for potty breaks, because that's a long day without a break. And yeah, if I can help, I'll help, absolutely. So I did come away with some purchases, but as I said before, I'm sort of still trying to spread out the Into the Wool purchases, and I'll add on the SAF after that. I didn't go crazy. Got a few things, but nothing too much. And yeah, it was great. I saw a lot of people, and I got a lot of friends to knit on my dress. I'm so excited about that. I love the thought that all these awesome people I know are just contributing to a day that is going to be so happy and special for me. So all of you that did do a few stitches on my dress, thank you so much. It really means a lot to have friends who are contributing to something like that. And yeah, just it means a lot that you're willing to do something like that for me. So thank you to everyone who did that. I am planning to do a little video slideshow when the dress is much more complete of the people who helped me work on it. And yeah, I even got some extra stitches put on it by podcasters that I ran into. If you don't listen to it, you should totally check out the Unraveling with Greg and Joey podcast. They're fun. They're funny. I've been listening to them probably since their first episode, actually. I think I listened to them very shortly after they released the first episode, before the second one was out. So I've been listening for a while. And Greg, Knitting Daddy, was there. And I was on my way between the main arena and the barn, and I recognized the beard, man. I recognized the beard, and sort of stopped him and said hi, and chit-chatted a little bit, and he put a few stitches on my dress too, which is really nice of him. So yeah, that was my SAF adventure. I headed home Sunday evening. I thought about staying an extra night, but with my parents in town and a recent engagement, I kind of just wanted to be at home with my people. Not that I don't love my knitting people, but I don't get to spend as much time as I'd like with my parents because they don't live in the same town or country as me. So when they come in to visit, I try to spend as much time with them as I can. And I'd already had the plans to go to SAF, and they knew that when they made their travel plans. We just knew that there'd be a weekend that we wouldn't get to hang out. So yeah, that is my crazy life for the last month since the last full podcast. Thank you for your patience and sticking around with that tiny little one in between. Like I said, I couldn't talk about the engagement until we made a point of telling more family and friends than... That's the thing is, you know, you hit a point where you want to call everyone, but everyone is so many people. And that sounds weird, and it sounds like I'm bragging about the number of friends I have, and I'm not. It's just, you want to tell everyone, but there's just a limit to the number of hours you can spend on a phone, especially because so many of my family members live so far away from me that, you know, you call them to tell them the good news, and that's awesome and great, and then you spend another hour or two catching up because you haven't talked to each other in a while. So yeah, we wanted to make sure we got a bunch of relatives and friends told before we started just putting it up on the internet. But we're ready to talk about it now, and I'm so excited. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, I'm at a loss for words. I'm super excited, happy. And most of that probably is going to get cut out, and that's okay. All right. Well, thank you guys for sticking around. I appreciate it. I'm probably going to be a couple days late in getting the show notes up this time because I've still got family here, and they let me get away to do some podcasting, but I don't know that I'll be able to steal quite enough time to get show notes up right away. But I promise they're coming. I've got my my handy dandy notebook full of my show notes, so I will get those translated to the computer as soon as I can. Until next time, happy knitting,